Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Vande Guru Nisha Bhakta, Nisha Nishavatarakant, Tat Prakasham Tat Shakti, Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam, Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Nityananda Sahodito, Gaurudaye Pushpavanatau Chitrau Sandau Tamonudau, Granthira Arambha Kori, Mangala Charana, Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan, Tinirasmarana, Tinirasmarana Hoya Vighana Vinashana, Anayasa Safal Nija Vanchita Purana, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kashchid dukha bhag bhavet. Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, dear worshipable devotees, for joining. We are reading Sri Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, Adi-lila, chapter 3, the external reasons for the appearance of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we read till text number 67 yesterday, talking about anga and upanga, talking about the limbs and the secondary limbs, or the parts and the subparts, which are like the Sangopangastra Parshadam, which are like the weapons of Lord Chaitanya. So let's see what happens further. We read till text number 68 actually. Narayanam stvam nahi sarvadehinam. Actually, we read this also. I'm sorry. So we have to read from 70. Jalashai antaryami ye Narayana, seho tomar amsha tumi mula Narayana. Translation: His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The manifestation of the Narayana who predominates in everyone's heart, as well as the Narayana who lives in the waters, Karana, Garbha, and Ksira, is your plenary portion. You are therefore the original Narayana. So, we have discussed this point multiple times in the previous chapters as well. Who is the mool Narayana? Who is the mool means root or real, or primeval, or the cause of all the Narayanas is Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Brahmaji spoke multiple verses in the previous chapters. We studied those. In this chapter also, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is quoting those verses. The mool Narayana is Krishna. And the three waters where he lies down, we have discussed this, the Purusha avatars, Karana Sagar, causal ocean, Garbha Sagar, the Garbha ocean, and then the Ksira Sagar, the milk ocean. So let's see the next one. Yes, Moksha Mataji, you want to read?
anga sabhe amsha kahe seho satyaya maya karya nahi tab chitta anandaya. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word anga indeed refers to the plenary portions. Such manifestations should never be considered products of material nature, for they are all transcendental, full of knowledge and full of bliss. Further, in the material world, if the fragment is taken from the original object is reduced by the removal of the fragment. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not at all affected by the actions of Maya. The Ishopanishad says, Om Purnamadam Purnamada पूर्णात् पूर्णं मुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. The personality of Godhead is perfect and complete, and because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is complete whole, even though so many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. The Ishopnishan invocation. In the realm of the absolute, 1 plus 1 equals to 1 and 1 minus 1 equals to 1. Therefore, one should not conceive of a fragment of the Supreme Lord in a material sense. In spiritual world, there is no influence of the material energy or material calculation of fragments. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that the living entities are its parts and parcels. They are innumerable living entities throughout the material and spiritual universes, but still Lord Krishna is full in himself. To think that God has lost his personality because of his many parts and parcels distributed all over the universe is an illusion. That is the material calculation. Such calculations are possible only under the influence of the material energy Maya. In the spiritual world, the material energy is conspicuous only by its absence. In the category of Vishnu tattva, there is no loss of power from one expansion to the next, any more than there is a loss of illumination as one candle kindles another. Thousands of candles may be kindled by the original candle and all will have the same candle power. In this way, it is to be understood that although all the Vishnu tattvas from Krishna and Lord Chaitanya to Rama, Narasimha, Vara and so on appeared with different features in different ages are all equally invested with supreme potency. Demigods such as Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva come into contact with material energy and their power and potency are therefore of different gradations. All the incarnations of Vishnu, however, are equal in potency, for the influence of Maya cannot even approach them. This part of the explanation is given in many of the books of Srila Prabhupada in the introduction itself, where he wants to make it clear to every jiva that we must not understand that if Sri Krishna has expanded in himself in other incarnations like Narasimha Bhagwan, Vara Bhagwan, so they are not that potent. As it is said that we are different in our personal space and we are different in our professional state. So Sri Krishna has 64 gunas. So if Lord Vishnu has 60 gunas, we must not think that he is some less than Sri Krishna. It is just that Sri Krishna is not showing 4 of his gunas while he is in the form of Vishnu. So in that sense, it is always said that we must not consider someone less and someone more, as Supreme Personality of Godhead is complete in himself. And we as the soul are also complete in ourselves, but the only difference between us and Lord is that the Lord is full in Sachidananda Vigraha, and we have only 1/10,000th part of our head, which is Sachidananda, and we are also covered by the illusional energy. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is trying to tell. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mataji. There was some disturbance in the voice. I'm not sure it was just me or others were having difficulty in hearing. Did anyone else face difficulty in hearing, or was it
Yes,
clear?
Prabhu.
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhu. Yes.
Okay. No. Okay. So thank you, Mataji, for sharing these words. Very, very important topic, that spiritual mathematics is different from material mathematics. In material world, let's say one has 1,000 rupees or $100. and one gives $10 here, $20 here, 30 here, 40 here, and then what is left is zero, right? But in spiritual mathematics, Supreme Lord is the complete whole. Unlimited wholes come from that supreme whole, and that yet the supreme whole remains a supreme whole. So it's like infinite minus infinite is infinite. Infinite plus infinite is also infinite. Not just it's true for the Supreme Lord. I was just hearing a class the other day. Even in material world, even with the devotees, when we share Krishna consciousness, it's not that we will lose our Krishna consciousness. Rather, our Krishna consciousness will further grow more. And same is with any act of spiritual life, even spiritual charity, Krishna conscious charity. If one, on the material level, one will think, oh, if I give charity, I will lose that amount. Correct? Whatever, $10 or $1,000 or whatever dollars or rupees one gives. It may be true if some has that material perspective, but if one has a spiritual perspective to giving for a Krishna conscious cause, then it will rather come multi-fold more. This is the Lord's promise. When we are reading Bali Maharaj, or just read Bali Maharaj, he gave he didn't lose even by giving the planetary system. He got 100 times better kingdom. So, talking about Matsya Avatar, it's not a product of material nature. For all of them are transcendental, full of knowledge and full of bliss. Satchit Anandam Maya. One of the names of Nrsimhadev we read, 108 names of Nrsimhadev is Om Satchidananda Vigrahaya Namaha. And that's true for actually all the deities. They are Satchid Ananda Vigrahaya. The deities are not made up of metal or wood, or that's just external. They are Satchidananda Vigraha. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. Right? Brahmaji's prayers also same. So in short, one should never consider this deity as just some ordinary wood or metal or ordinary whatever material clay. If one considers that, then the deity will be like that. If one considers deity as a supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna, Satchidananda Rupa is standing, then one deity will have that effect. So this is about the plenary portions of the incarnations. Let's see the next verse, number 72. Did someone want to read this one? Varna Mataji, you want to read?
Prabhuji, are you asking me?
Sure, go ahead, please.
Okay. Hare Krishna devotees. Advaita Nityananda Chaitanya anga Angera Avayava Gana Kahiye Upanga. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Advaita Prabhu and Sri Nityananda Prabhu are both plenary portions of Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are the limbs, angas, of his body. The parts of these two limbs are called the upangas. Back to you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. So the parts and the subparts, all are transcendental, but again, just for the sake of the kind of division. So Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu are the plenary portions or the angas here. And then we'll talk about the upanga also, or the subdivisions. Upa means like second or sub. Let's see further. Yes, Umesh Prabhu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna. Text 73. Angopa Naga Tikshna Asra Prabhura Sahate Sai Sabha Asra Haya Pashanda Delight. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Vedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thus the Lord is equipped with the sharp weapons in the form of his parts and preliminary portion. All these weapons are competent enough to crush the faithless atheists. Purport. The word pasanda is very significant here. One who compared the Supreme Personality of the Godhead to the demigods is known as a pasanda. Pashandas try to bring the Supreme Lord down to the mundane level. Sometimes they create their own imaginary God or accept an ordinary person as a God and advertise him as equal to the Supreme Personality of the Godhead. They are so foolish that they present someone as the next incarnation of the Lord Chaitanya or Krishna. Although his activities are all contradictory to those of the genuine incarnation, and thus they fool the innocent public. One who is intelligent and who studies the characteristics of Supreme Personality of Godhead with reference to the Vedic context cannot be bewildered by the Pashandas. Pashandas are atheists. Atheists cannot understand the pastime of the Supreme Personality, Supreme Lord, or transcendental loving service to the Lord. They think that devotional service is no better than the ordinary productive activities, karma. As the Bhagavad Gita 4.8 confirms, however, the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotee saving the righteous and chastising the miscreants, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. Always curb these nonsensical atheists, miscreants, always want to deny the Supreme Personality of the Godhead and put stumbling blocks in the path of devotional service. The Lord sends his bona fide representative and appears himself to curb this nonsense. So here Prabhupada ji is explaining very nicely the people do not have any faith. They are faithless, and Prabhupada ji called them as a pasandi because they compare the Supreme Personality Godhead with whatever they like. Their imaginary things could be something else. But point is here, Prabhupada is trying to tell that they really do not understand the feature of the Supreme Personality of a Godhead and what has said in the Vedic, in the reference, in the Shastras, they really don't understand. Further, Prabhupada is saying that one need to have a devotional service better to understand this. And top of that, no matter what happened, these people, the faithless people, Lord and his bona fide representatives, we just saw the limbs and parts of the limbs as very capable to curb like these faithless people. Thank you, Prabhu. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So considering, actually this comes in the Namaprad also, to consider names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the names of Lord Vishnu. That's the first thing Prabhupada is saying, Pakhandi, Pashandi. And also, the Prabhupada is mentioning that they think that devotional service is no better than ordinary fruitive activities or karma. We see that the chanting of the holy name, right? Because the chanting of the holy name is one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are often in the Vedas as fruitive activities or karma. Same with the deities, same with the devotees, same with the spiritual master. So how can we overcome this ignorance? Prabhupada is giving solution also by taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The Lord sends his bona fide representative and appears himself to curb this nonsense. So at that time, really a lot of nonsense was going on. It's one of the reasons the Lord came with his weapons, with his associates, with his holy name, to curb all that nonsense on the name of religion. A lot of people were doing all sorts of things except for pure devotional service. And Advaita called out, this famous episode, Advaita was calling out for the Lord to come, descend in this age of Kali Yuga to remove all this pasanda, ignorance, darkness. And that's why the Lord came with his weapons. Who are those weapons? Anga and Upanga. Sango Pangastra, Sanga Upanga Astra. These are the real Astra. The associates and the holy name. Parshada. Has any other comments on this? Okay, next verse. Would someone like to read this one? Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mataji, you want to?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Sure, Mataji. Mataji, you can read the next one.
Okay, text 74. Hare Krishna, all devotees. Nityananda Gosai Sakshat Haladara, Advaita Acharya Gosai Sakshat Ishvara. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Nityananda Gosai is directly Haladara, Lord Balaram, and Advaita Acharya is the personality of Godhead himself. Back to you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hala means plow. There's an asana also which we do. Halasana. Hala means plow. To till the land, plow is required. Similarly, before Krishna comes Balram, Haladhar with his plow. You may have seen sometimes Krishna Balram deities. Balramji is holding a plow, right? In many pictures, actually, the same. Why? Because plow tills the land and makes the land fertile for the seed to grow properly. If the land is hard, then the seed will not grow nicely. The land has to be ready. Similarly, if your heart is like that hard land, the seed of bhakti will not grow properly. So Balramji, Saladhar, Nityananda Prabhu, eternal spiritual master, the Adi Guru, makes the heart fertile for the seed of the bhakti to grow. And then Advaita Acharya is Sakshata Ishvara, the Supreme Personality of God himself. And we have also discussed Sadashiva, also incarnation Sadashiva. Okay. Let's see the next one. Yes, Mataji, what to do?
Another devotees. Pasanda dalane vana Nityananda naya Acharya hankare papa pashandi palaye.
75. We missed 75, Mataji.
I'm sorry, Prabhu. Shrivasadi parishada shainyag sange laya. That is a n on thing is a year. Laya. Dui senapati bhule kirtana kariya. These two captains with their soldiers such as Srivasa Thakura travel everywhere chanting the holy name of the Lord. Please add.
Thank you, Mataji. Shrivas Adi Parishada. So who are the two captains?
Nityananda, is it the other one?
No. Nityananda and Advaita Acharya.
Yes. In this context, Nityananda and Advaita, they are the angas, as we discussed in the previous verse. And with their soldiers, they Srivas Adi, Srivas and others. Srivas Pandit, Haridas Thakur, and there are so many, Devanand Pandit, so many soldiers they had. They had their whole army. Travel everywhere. You know the famous story, Nityananda Prabhu went with his Haridas Thakur and gave the Jagai Madai. It's a famous story which we discussed multiple times. So, and even now, Prabhupada is the Senapati Bhakta. And all of you are, Prabhupada is the Senapati, and all of you are his soldiers, right? You are helping the Senapati by being a good soldier and traveling, sharing Krishna consciousness through books, through prasadam, through holy name, through caring attitude towards devotees. In so many ways we can be part of Prabhupada's army. Prabhupada is the Senapati, and we can be good soldiers. We have to be good soldiers in Prabhupada's army. That means we have to try our best to share whatever we are receiving from Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's devotees, grand devotees, etc., to share with others. That's one time someone asked Prabhupada, how can we express our gratitude to you? Prabhupada said, to receive properly and to share. So first we receive properly what is being given, and then we share as our duty, as our gratitude, as our offering to Srila Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada will be very happy. And we will be happy because Guru is happy, disciple is happy. Guru is not happy, Krishna is not happy. Krishna is not happy, how can we be happy? So they had their Senapatis and Senapati soldiers as well. Any other comments before we move to Bhagavatam? Any comments or additions, questions? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.